Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus. In the last part, we did some stages and now it's time for, I've already forgotten the name of this level despite the fact it was just on screen.
A cunning disguise!
Those rats got pegged.
Raleigh appears to have booby-trapped this entire place.
I'm gonna enjoy this.
Don't you get it, Sly? If you step on that rug, forget about becoming a master thief. You'll be a master dartboard.
Wait a second. What if I jumped into that barrel for protection?
I don't know. It looks pretty risky and very unsanitary.
Only one way to find out.
You know, it's a good thing that works. Because otherwise that'd be a shortcut to a Darwin Award.
Really would be.
So, pretty straightforward level. Step on the carpet, get darts in your face. Thankfully they're not instant, well I guess they are instant kill if you don't have any charms, but if you do have charms, don't worry about it too much. I usually actually have more trouble in this stage getting around some of the guards without getting spotted than I do the actual darts. Because while you can hide in the barrel to not get spotted, enemies in this game are a little finicky in that if you just get too close, they'll immediately notice you, which kind of makes going after them to get rid of them kind of feel unnecessary, which I guess could be the point in its own regard.
It's just kind of funny in that way, too, that you get too close, because it just makes me imagine them seeing, like, a moving barrel just out of the corner of their eye. They're like, hey!
Reminds me of the moblins from Wind Waker, just slowly approaching you and sniffing. Ugh. That scared me as a kid. But that's it. That's something actually Sly 2 and 3 do better about, which there's a lot of things in that if it's not obvious enough. It's going to be like Escape 2, folks. We're going to say, these later games do this thing a little better. In those games, if you actually stealth up on an opponent, they will not notice you, and you can take them out quietly. Which helps a lot, given the more focused stealth approach that 2 and 3 do. So, last time I brought up for a fact that when you leave a stage, you keep any bottles collected, and that is true. But the thing is, Sly 1 has numerous anti-piracy measures in it that can be tripped up by either a PS2 misreading or just playing a pirated copy that could be easily detected back then. Some of those include key counters not increasing when you beat a level, but also sometimes every clue bottle you collect can have like a 20% chance of uncollecting itself, apparently, and also be invisible. Which, honestly, there's something about that kind of anti-piracy measure I find funny.
That is pretty funny.
I still think the funniest one of those I've ever seen. There's two in particular. There's the one from Serious Sam 3 where there's the invincible scorpion enemy that'll just chase you through the level design. Which people have actually gotten around that thing and beaten the game with it, following them the entire time, which I think is kind of neat. And then there's Alan Wake 1, which doesn't do anything to harm the game, it just gives Alan an eye patch. Up here is actually the bottles that took me the longest to find on this level, because I just didn't think I could jump up that high for some reason on my first playthrough. This level is a little good example of what they do with bottle placements, though, sometimes, where even if the bottles are immediately obvious, sometimes they place the vault in a bit of an out-of-the-way location. Because we have to go all the way back to about the halfway point of the stage to now find it, right over here. And that took me a little bit of time to find, too, on my first playthrough, despite the relative small scale of the level.
With the help of a straight edge and compass, the answer was simple. Dial in 242. Interesting. Chris Cooper's dive collection technique. This move is an extension of the dive move you already know. Just jump and hit the triangle button near breakable objects for some fast breaking, fast collecting action.
So, I basically never use this. It's a version, the best thing I can equate it to is the ground pound from Mario, where you jump and slam down with it, and it'll destroy everything in your vicinity, and I believe auto-collect any coins from it. And if this was more of a collectathon, I could see that being useful, but because of the game's level structure, you never really need to use it. But that said, we now got some keys, so let's open these locks. Haha! Take that, security measures! You were easily broken!
You showed those security measures.
Astonishing! All my calculations led me to believe you had failed to knock out that generator.
Never was good at math.
Well, here's a real test for you. I found a way up to Raleigh's hideout, but unfortunately, it is doomed to failure.
You're not gonna tell me I have to shoot myself out of that cannon.
I'm afraid that's the only way.
Now you're talking.
You're really scaring me, man. Anyway, to get inside that thing, you had to steal all 7 of Raleigh's treasure keys.
So what are we waiting for? You show me those hollow what's-its?
You mean my holographic markers?
Yeah. And I'll swipe whatever it takes to get shot out of that cannon and steal back my family's Thievius Raccoonus.
Really want to get shot out of that cannon, Sly.
Look, he likes excitement. He's a thrill seeker. I've always found this part of the game weird, honestly, where usually in the first half of every world there's the first keys you need to use. You don't need every key from the levels up to that point to get them, but then you always need all the keys to reach the boss fight. I feel like maybe to make this system feel a little better, maybe they should have had like 1 or 2 levels be optional, unless you're going for 100% per world. But, oh well, it's not like the levels are long to begin with.
True.
Ahoy, dog hands! Capital job unloading and cargoes. Your crown jewel, my operation. Do me the service of proving your worth yet again by protecting the treasure key I have stored down there. It appears there's a problem on the premises. Let him get his hands on that key. I'll personally flog the lot of you for an entire fortnight.
Was always more of a PUBG player. God damn it, Sly, not that Fortnite.
God, could you imagine Sly in Fortnite?
Honestly, I think it's a foregone conclusion that it'll happen at some point, given all the crossovers they've done. This level's not too bad, though. I do think this probably does have the most annoying enemy type for this overall world. Random eyeball floating in that tank that never gets brought back up again.
That's a little terrifying.
Right? These walruses that throw stars at you. The stars have a surprising amount of homing to them. So if you're just trying to rush past them, I think they can both throw them upwards and downwards, so dodging and weaving can be a little annoying against them in specific.
Yeah, you're kind of in for a bad time with those guys.
That is a big thing with Sly's moveset, both in all 3 games, really. Like, he's good at close combat, but if enemies are far away, he doesn't have a lot of options to take them out quickly.
No.
So you need to approach rapidly, but also carefully, which cannot exactly blend well together. And here's the next safe.
Enter the vault code. This one was cake. Input 719.
Can you tell I was doing practice runs based on the fact I had most of it input already?
Oh, you're lucky, Sly. This page features Karen Cooper Giwa's coin magnet technique. All she had to do was stand near money, and it would magically jump into her purse. From now on, you'll automatically collect any coins you come near.
Oh, that's nice.
I always love when a game gives you something like this, as long as it makes sense for the game. Like, there's actually, having played that new Prince of Persia recently, there's actually a mechanic like that in the game you can unlock if you go down a certain upgrade path, and I like that a lot. So, there are 5 treasure keys in this world. We just got our 4th. It's now time for the worst level in this world, and kind of a pattern in every world moving forward with how they handle level variety. There's usually a number of standard levels, but then there's a level that is just best described as a minigame with completion required for it. Oh boy, Treasure in the Depths, I do not like this one.
A random submarine he can commandeer.
Thank God he knows how to drive it.
That was a page in the Thievius Raccoonus he had available.
Found it, Sly! This is where Raleigh's gang of crabs stashes his sunken treasure. Use your sub to blast them. The left analog stick controls the sub. Give it a try. Great! Use the right analog stick to fire its gun. That's it. Remember, you can always drive the sub in one direction while firing in another. To earn a treasure key, you'll need to collect all 40 chests. Do not let a crab take one into a tube.
So we got a pretty straightforward twin-stick shooter here, but while it works, the big issue with, I think, every single one of Sly 1's minigame stages like this, the room for error is basically non-existent. If you mess up a single one of these chests and it gets taken away by the crabs, that is it. You need to start all over. If there were like 50 chests and you only need to get 40, this would be fine. I think this is asking a bit much for some younger players. I remember getting stuck here for several hours as a kid.
Also, why does he need to worry about the treasure chest? Just grab the key.
Right?
Like, I mean, okay, fine. If we're gonna steal all of Raleigh's treasure, I get it. But at the same time, it's like the key is just floating there. So I could literally just float over and grab it.
Yeah. My best advice... Oh, there goes one, and that means I've lost. My best advice is kill crabs the moment they show up, but also if a crab drags a chest a certain distance away from the center, take care of that chest immediately, because that leaves that very open for a crab to just walk out and grab it immediately. I don't think crabs will always go back into the tube they enter from, though. If there's another crab leaving from that, I think they'll try to get to somewhere else, which can give you some extra time, but this has just never felt comfortable, and it's not even, I think, the worst of these types of stages in the game. In some regards, it's probably the easiest.
No, that did not look fun.
Slide 2 also has minigames in its stages of a sort moving forward, but I think they do better about giving you more room of error before you immediately lose.
Yeah, I think I know specifically what minigames you're talking about, too. It's because there's a couple rhythm portions in 2. And it's like, I remember messing up sometimes as a kid and everything, but it doesn't immediately give you a game over.
How delightful! We have a guest. The only thing is, I hate unexpected guests!
Listen, Raleigh, wipe up my family and steal what's mine? You better expect company.
Oh, I'm ever so sorry. How sloppy of me not to finish the job. Obviously, we should have snuffed you out as well. So, without further ado, let me make amends by bloating to gargantuan size and squashing you like the insignificant bug that you are!
Bring it on.
And this is why I love the VAs of these games.
They're so fun. Also, getting a little ahead of ourselves, fun fact, most of the villain cast in this game is played by the same voice actor. It's almost all Kevin Blackton, and he does great work.
That's amazing, actually.
So, Raleigh is a pretty straightforward boss. He eats a fly, he gets real big, he tries to smash you into the water or into the platform. The water is also a damage plane in the case you fall into it. Whenever you hit him, platforms will raise or lower depending on what's going on around you. Just keep some good situational awareness on, and you should get to this no problem. The bosses in this game are seldom hard, but I think most of them are effectively just increased danger enemies in a lot of regards, rather than being boss fights, if that makes sense.
Also, I just noticed his little icon on his health bar changes every time you hit him.
Does it?
Yeah!
Oh, right, he can also do a rafflecopter with his tongue. Ew.
Gross.
Blast it all! You've beaten me! Well, gloat all you want, Sly Cooper. You're no match for Mugshot. my villainous cohort in Utah. You will see. Mesa City is so well guarded, a snake couldn't slither in without setting off alarms.
Raleigh's section of the Thievius Raccoonus held detailed instructions on how to perform my ancestor Raliegh Cooper's Ninja Spire Jump, a technique he developed while sneaking into the thickly fortified castles of feudal Japan. Finding a way off Raleigh's boat got a little tricky with the untimely arrival of Inspector Fox, who, failing to find me, busted Raleigh and his crew.
Hot chick with gun, Jesus.
Give Carmelita a little more respect.
Boats found their way back onto the ocean, and the mystery of the Welsh Triangle faded from memory. My gang and I loafed around England for a while, enjoying the pleasant weather, and then headed back home, excited for our next heist.
I took the liberty of pinning your mission map up on the wall. You can use it to warp directly to any levels you've already visited. We're all set to go to...
So yeah, if you're going for 100%, you can also just directly warp into stages from the hideout now, which I think is pretty nice, so you can avoid the little hub world in case you don't want to venture through them again.
It had been a while since I'd been back in the U.S. Next up, the notorious mugshot. Ruthless muscle of the fiendish five. What he lacked in brains, he definitely made up for in brawn. Turns out he wasn't always that way. He grew up as the run of the litter. A neighborhood weakling. The only friends he could turn to were usually found on the big screen. It was there that he spotted his first gangster, and he knew instantly that that's what he wanted to be. He spent the rest of his youth working real hard to get there, fueled on his dreams of great power and respect. With enough perspiration, he realized that dream. He'd become a hard-boiled, street-brawling, tough-as-nails gangster, ensuring that he'd never be kicked on or pushed around again. So he's holed up in Mesa City, huh? I've always wanted to go to that thriving American boom town.
Welcome to World 2, and I like parts of this world a lot, some parts not so much, but one of my favorite things, I love the battle theme here for one silly reason we'll get into in a moment. As we got a usual Bentley dialogue to contend with here.
Hey, Sly, I thought you said Mesa City was going to be loud and busy. This looks more like a ghost town.
Something's happened. Where is everyone?
I don't know, but it's starting to give me the creeps. What do you say we take off?
And miss all the fun? Besides, I want to try out that new move I got from Raleigh's section of the Thievius Raccoonus.
You mean the Ninja Spire Jump?
Yeah, do me a favor and read me the instructions again.
To landeth safely upon diminutive points, leapeth lively and presseth the triggering device with the round geometrical object emblazoned upon it.
So jump and hit the circle button to land on narrow spots.
That's a rough translation.
This is why I love the dialogue of these games.
A sub over dub, Sly. Oh, God, not again, Bentley. So, I love the battle theme in Mesa City because it always starts with this guy going, bow, wow. And there's something about that that's just stuck with me for near on 20 years at this point. Like, if there's anything I will reference from this game, it's just always going to be that. So, our new ability allows us to step on very sharp points as a platforming mechanic. And that's just going to be a thing moving forward in levels. Something I think later games do a little better with things like that is they might give you several routes through a platforming section if you keep your eyes open to them. Because you can use the rest of the geometry as platforming still. But in Sly 1, it's largely just treated as another type of platform you can now use. Which is a little weird in retrospect, again, having started with Sly 3, but for Sly 1, it works well enough. Going back to the voice actors really quick, though, because we brought up Kevin Blackton as most of the villains. By and large, the voice cast of this game only ever really played these characters across their various appearances. For instance, Sly is Kevin Miller, who was Sly in every appearance he's had. Raid in Tales of Eternia. House of the Dead 3, they were Daniel. And then that's really it. Whereas Bentley is Matt Olson, who was Bentley in everything, and was some additional voice in Lightning Returns.
The latest in high-tech security. Electronic floor sensors. Step on them and you're a goner.
Nice touch.
They're safe to walk on while flashing, but it also means they're about to switch to a different sector.
Being able to walk on those as they're flashing is the biggest buff there, because if you're just good on timing your jumps from there, you don't need to worry at all about it. Murray is voiced by Chris Murphy, who was Murphy and Hyakamaru in the Dororo game on PS2. The voice actor who's actually done the most is Carmelita's in this game, who is Roxana Ortega, who was a couple of characters in The Loud House, as well as Celia, Mike Wazowski's girlfriend, in that Disney racing game that came out last year.
Interesting enough, like, we'll touch more on this in the later games, but Carmelita, as a character, is the one who goes through VAs the most in these games. And I don't, did they ever, like, really give a reason as to why, other than, like, scheduling issues?
Scheduling issues, maybe changing studios, potentially. Because there's a couple of characters that just always get new VAs whenever they show up again, and it always just feels really weird. I didn't really notice it with Carmelita as a kid, but now that I'm older, it's very obvious, especially considering the different direction that the series goes through as they evolve.
Yeah, and it's very, like, I feel like for 1 and 4, that's, like, when her voice sounds the closest.
Yeah.
And then for 2 and 3, it's completely different.
Like, I like, in retrospect, I think 1 and 4 also give her the most of an accent. 2 and 3, she's very closer to everyone else, where they're... Despite supposedly being French characters, they speak with just plain American accent speaking English. Clearly what this series needed is a what we can call Tekken mode, where characters will only speak the language of the country they're from. So the entire Sly crew is just speaking French.
That would actually be kind of fun.
I think more games need to do that, because I think there's something about that that's just kind of neat.
Guilty Gear did do that with a character, with their newest game, Jam.
Oh, did they?
She speaks, as far as I know, like, obviously take this with a grain of salt, because I haven't played as her in those games, but they keep her, like, they keep her with a thick accent. She speaks very little English, and her dialogue is mostly in Chinese.
Ah, neat. I like stuff like that.
I do too. It's like it adds a lot. It adds a lot than just giving them like just making them all the same.
Yeah, like it adds a little more personality and worldness to the cast.
Dial in 314. Outstanding! You've uncovered Rob McCooper's patented explosive hat technique. Use the triangle button to toss your cap. Then use the triangle button again to detonate it. Better back off to a safe distance first.
So thankfully, Sly now magically has infinite hats and can throw them as mines.
And he apparently has infinite explosions to make them into mines.
Yeah? I feel this is one of the best examples of Sly 1's power-up system, where they give you these options, but they're seldom, if ever, really useful or... I'm not going to say required, but they don't really feel like they're a benefit to get them. They're just something to fill out a completion marker in some cases, it feels like. Which is funny, because I think some of these abilities, when they get revisited in later games, become a lot more useful, again, due to the more focused stealth approach than the platforming approach that Sly 1 has on the whole. Alright, welcome to our new hub world. I love the look of this one.
It's a lot of fun. Very junkyard.
Yeah.
Like with the guard dogs and everything, too.
Well, this mugshot certainly isn't shy. Okay, so we know he's here somewhere, but how are we supposed to find him? Mesa City is a big place.
Given that he's a bulldog, it seems only reasonable to assume that he'd choose to live in a giant fire hydrant.
That's some sound logic, Sly. Now you just need to find a way to break into the building's base.
Oh, I'm sure I'll think of something.
Oh, I love the world map theme here, too. God, Sly 1 soundtrack, I don't really think about it a lot, but it is really good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so our first goal... Oh, hi, Mugshot.
Yo, hey, yo, it's the boss. You know, I need a voice to admit that maybe driving everyone out of town, while necessary to set up shop, might have taken a hit out of the business. So, now I hope you mugs will be obliging to any visitors that come here to lose their money in my casino. But, I got a reliable tip that a cop might be snooping around the operation. So from now on, greet any visitors you see with a hail of lead. Capiche?
I want him dead. No shot. All right, well, I'd say that's a pretty good introduction to his character, but with that, we're going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 4, we're going to take a dive into our first full level for Mesa City, which, Casino Boneyard, I think is what it was called just then. I forgot to read.
See ya.
See you guys then.